time for another Resident Evil Death Island update already. The trailer just dropped. This upcoming movie has created quite the stir in the Resident Evil fan base. People seem to be excited about it, rightfully so. The biggest takeaway from the trailer seems to be that Jill is back, her ultimate return. And I think she's back for real. We'll discuss. There's a little bit of new information that tells us when the story takes place, and it gives us some clue as to, is Jill actually in here? Before we get into it, today's sponsor is MoviePalette.com. If you're a big movie buff like me, you'll find what they do really cool. So they take a movie, they identify the dominant colors in every single scene, and then they create this color palette chronologically from beginning to end. They print it on a canvas, and they send it to you in these really artsy looking pieces. These are really cool pieces, and it's a lot more subtle than just like a movie poster. They've got just about everything: Halloween, Alien, Batman and Robin with all its crazy neon colors, and even Twilight for you vampire-loving fans. Now, if they don't have the movie you're looking for, there's a link to order a custom request. I actually got the Empire Strikes Back one, the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. You also have the option of having the movie name printed in the corner. I did that too. I love how it looks here as a backdrop to my little clone trooper shrine. There's Boba Fett, the Bad Batch, some generic clones. If you'd like to check them out, I've got a link to their site in the description and a 15% off code. Just use code GAMER15 in all caps. Now back to Resident Evil. In my first video where I analyzed the trailer, I missed something. But I did theorize that the movie does take place sometime after Vendetta and maybe before Resident Evil 7. Turns out that was correct. Now I can't read any of this, but there was a Japanese announcement that the wonderful people of the internet have translated, identifying its place in the Resident Evil timeline. Death Island takes place in the year 2015, 1 year after the events of Vendetta, and 2 years before Resident Evil 7's main events. Here's a graphic to help. It's sandwiched right in between those two, right in between Vendetta and 7. Which also proves that this is absolutely Maria, the unresolved storyline from the ending of Vendetta. Now, the other question that kept coming up in my comments from the first video were debating Jill's placement in the movie. It seems that a lot of people think that Jill could simply just be a flashback sequence, and she's not in the actual present day of the movie. It's still a possibility, I suppose. I don't think so, though. Let me give you some reasons that commenters have identified that it's likely a flashback. She's wearing blue, like in Resident Evil 3. Her hair is brown and not the discolored Resident Evil 5 look. And her hair is short like Resident Evil 3. Let me challenge some of these with some very light critical thinking. She might just have other blue clothing in her wardrobe. I think it's as simple as that. The blue shirt she wore in Resident Evil 3 might not be the only one she owns. Also, her hair. I mean, it's as simple as women dye their hair and style it all the time. She could have easily just colored her hair back to normal and gotten a haircut. None of those reasons specifically justify that Jill is a flashback. Also, many brought up that it's the remake model being reused. I don't think that gives us any information one way or the other. I think that's just an art direction decision. The most recent in-game Jill we've gotten is the Resident Evil 3 remake Jill, so they're going to use that character model. And they already have the remake assets. You pop that in the movie and you call it a day. But here's the big one. I'd be on board otherwise about the flashback Jill theory, but here's the reason that I definitely don't agree with it now. What I missed in the trailer was this scene. It's a really blink and you'll miss it shot. When Chris is inside Alcatraz prison with his tour group, right next to him, right there, there's someone standing there and it looks exactly like Jill. Sure, it could be any generic person, but she's standing right next to Chris. The hairstyle, the head shape, it looks exactly like Jill. If that is Jill, then Jill is absolutely not just a flashback. She is present in 2015 Resident Evil. But that's really it. Just a short update to spur some more conversation about the movie. What do you guys think about all this? Do you still think Jill is all a flashback, or do you see the world through new eyes now? Let me know now in the comments below, and I will catch you later.